I'm on my way to pick up the new chicks, and I'm going to show you all how I set up my brooder house. Of course, I have one of my guardians with me. I'll leave you all to guess if it's Sambo or Coco in the comments. Alright, so I just pulled in. Here's a sneak peek of them before I show you how I set up the brooding house. Right, so here I'm using one of my spare dog kennels. The size of the brooder is really based on the amount of chicks you're going to be brooding, but you definitely don't want to give them too much space. So you really just need enough space for food, water, and heat. So here I'm spreading wood shavings. They actually recommend that you use brown paper because the chicks tend to mistake the wood shavings for food and try to eat it. But this is my third batch of chicks and I've never had a problem with that. So I'm going to stick to what I'm accustomed doing. So I'm applying a 2 to 3 inch thick layer of wood shavings. This also helps keep them warm because it keeps them off of the cold concrete. And these wood shavings were sourced from a local sawmill. So as I said earlier, regarding the size of the brooder, you definitely don't want to give them too much space. I like to divide the brooder in half. One half used as a dedicated heat source and the other for feed and water. Right, so for the feed, I'm actually using one of my 4-inch deep hotel pans. Why? It's big enough to cater to a large number of chicks at one time, and it's free. I already have it, so I don't have to buy a chick feeder. So here, well, in the video you see me placing it on the wood shavings, but I actually remove the wood shavings from below it and place it directly on the floor. This makes it a lot easier for the chicks to get in because, as I said, the hotel pan is 4 inches deep. So that way, by lowering it, they could literally just walk in. Right, so for the water, I'm placing a 12-inch tile on the wood shavings. That's to place the water on a level surface, and also it helps to prevent the wood shavings from getting in the water. The base of the actual water, I'm sure you're seeing like some white stones. That prevents the chicks from drowning, as believe it or not, the day-old chicks sometimes would fall asleep in the water and drown. The feed I'm using is a commercial grade chicken starter feed. This is a regular commercial grade feed that you could get in most pet stores and most animal feed stores. Nothing fancy. Yeah, so the water here is a immune boosting recipe of a half cup of honey, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and 2 tablespoons of crushed garlic to every gallon of water. So what I like to do, I like to add that to warm water and leave it overnight to steep, strain, and then add to the water. You want to give them this for the first 48 hours to increase chances of survival. And after the 48 hours, you give them another water recipe, which I'll post in an updated video. Alright, so now here you see me adding the chicks to the brooder. So what I'm doing here in the video is I'm dipping the chick's beak in the water. The reason for doing that is you want to help them identify the water source, and then after that I actually take it a step further by placing them directly in the feed so they could start to eat immediately. Right, so this is just another angle of me dipping their beaks and placing them in the feed. I literally have to do this 60 times now. And yes, this means that some of them may poop in the feed, which will result in me dumping some of the feed. But this is my third batch of chicks and I've never lost one while in the brooder house. So if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. Right, so finally here, I'm gonna adjust the heat lamp. So as a general rule of thumb, it's recommended to keep the heat source 10 inches above the floor. So that's why you see me pulling out the measuring tape here. Now, for those of you who may not know, Trinidad is a tropical island with 2 seasons throughout the year, rainy season and dry season. I say this because the weather plays a huge part on how you place your heat source. Colder days mean that it'll have to be placed closer and warmer days farther away. It's not an exact science, but something that you'll have to adjust accordingly to your environment. One simple way of knowing if you're giving them too much or not enough heat is by observing the chicks. If all are huddled together under the heat source, then it's definitely too high, and if they are as far away from it as possible, it's obviously too hot. Right, and that's it for the brooder house setup, guys.